What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and by now I'm assuming most of you all have read the contents of Brian Laundrie's notebook, and you read his so-called confession to killing Gabby, or putting Gabby down. Let's call it that. Because in Brian's notebook, he basically says that he didn't murder Gabby, he didn't really kill Gabby, he put Gabby out of her misery. And listen, this stuff that he wrote in this notebook is very obviously not true. It is totally 100% unbelievable. It's not even close to sounding like something that would actually happen in real life. Guys, I'm sorry I have to make this video, but I'm online and I see people starting to have this discussion about Brian Laundrie's notebook, and a lot of people believe what he wrote. A lot of people believe that Brian Laundrie was so upset about Gabby tripping and falling over while hiking that he decided the best thing to do was not to call 911, not to take her to a hospital, not to carry her to the van, but to strangle her and kill her right on the spot to make sure she doesn't suffer anymore. Come on, really? There's people out here who believe this. In fact, I saw one comment saying something along the lines of, well, we don't have any other information but this, so this is the actual story that we have to go with. Now, no, it's not. Listen, folks, in Brian Laundrie's confession, he says that Gabby tripped up and fell in this creek, and that when he went and pulled her out of the creek, she had a bump on her head, and that she was freezing cold. And he thought that she was going to freeze to death, and that she was complaining about her injuries, and she just didn't want to feel this pain anymore. So he thought he was doing the right thing by killing her right on the spot. But ladies and gentlemen, there's only one problem. Well, there's a few problems, but let's just start at the beginning. This creek that they were in, some of you all might remember. During this whole Gabby Petito situation, plenty of people went out to that creek. There's plenty of examples online where you could see how deep the water is here. Brian Enton went out here, and I believe sometime around October, to this creek. This creek is ankles deep, y'all. Gabby Petito did not fall, almost drowned, and freaking freeze to death in a creek with about this much water in it. I thought we were all better than this. Come on now. You guys gotta know that he's very obviously lying. This guy, Brian, we all know he's a narcissist, and his last act in this world was to try to make himself look better. No. Do you think Brian was really all upset about killing Gabby? Maybe, okay, maybe. I'll give him that, possibly. But at the end of the day, Brian was more concerned with his public image than he was giving closure to Gabby's family and to Gabby's loved ones. In his final act, Brian was selfish. And instead of telling the truth about what happened, Brian fabricated this lie. Gabby Petito's van was parked about a 1-minute walk from this creek. Brian, in his little confession, would have you believe that, oh, he had no idea where he was, and who knows, they might have to travel for miles and miles, and Gabby was just going to turn into a living popsicle. Gabby's van was parked less than a 1-minute walk from this creek. Also, Gabby's body was found less than a 10-minute walk from this creek. There was no accident. Yeah, I believe that Gabby hit her head on a rock. A rock that Brian had in his hand and probably smashed her over the head with. You know, after seeing this, now I'm really even questioning things even more, because This whole Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito story has been crazy. And from the beginning, I've been trying to figure out, what exactly happened here. And I've been thinking along the lines that this was an act of passion, if you will. In the heat of the moment, Brian just loses it, snaps, and kills Gabby. But now I'm wondering, did he take Gabby out here on purpose? Knowing that he was going to kill Gabby while he was out there? Or was it just something that happened, spur of the moment? But one thing I can tell you all for certain, while we probably will never know the answer to that question, we can all rest assured knowing that this confession by Brian is totally fabricated. I'm not 100% sure that he even wrote it. However, whoever wrote this obviously had little to no common sense. Obviously, they're a complete idiot. There's nothing believable about this, and the fact that there's a debate online right now as to if this is true or not, it totally blows my mind. Think about it. Think about how much you loved your significant other. If you and your significant other go on a walk tomorrow, and she slips and falls in a puddle, are you going to try to get her or him back to their feet? Maybe try to get them some help? Or are you going to reach down and snap their neck in half because you don't want them to deal with the scrape on their knee from falling on the pavement? Please, folks, get real here. Be honest with yourselves. Also, this area has exceptional cell service. Brian Enton also revealed that. Brian Enton was reporting live from these locations. He was uploading videos. He had awesome service out there. Brian Laundrie, not Brian Enton, Brian Laundrie could have made a phone call. Just how he got on the phone and pretended to be Gabby when he texted Gabby's mother, he could have made a phone call and called 911. I assure you that if Gabby twisted her ankle in an ankle-deep stream in the middle of August, hold on, wasn't it August? It's not like they're in the middle of Antarctica here, people. I know it gets cold out there at night, but they're not in the middle of Antarctica here, people. And in fact, when I think about it, this clip that I showed you all of Brian Enton walking through the stream or the creek, that's in October, so most likely there's probably more water in that creek now than there was back when Gabby actually got killed. At the time that Brian was out here, there's probably more water in that creek and flowing through that creek at that time than back when Gabby got killed. So I'm not saying for sure. Of course, I don't live there. I'm not I'm not an expert here. But I would assume there's probably the water was even more shallow back then. So yeah, I didn't have to look into things to know that this was a lie. If you read what Brian wrote and you believe it, seriously, people, I'm going to need you all to do better. I'm not trying to be mean here. But do not be that gullible. Please do not be that gullible. Because if you believe what Brian wrote in that journal, then you would believe almost anything. And I fear for the future of you and whatever children you bring into this world, because damn, oh damn, it is so obviously not true. It is so unbelievable to the point that I can't even put into words how unbelievable it is. Now, there is one possibility that I will throw out there. I've believed for a while that there was a possibility that Brian and Gabby could have been doing all types of drugs while they were out here exploring nature. And I'm not saying that to talk bad about Gabby. Everyone has their times when they experiment with things. So yeah, sometimes I don't necessarily see anything wrong if you and your boyfriend want to go out and look through nature and maybe eat a couple of magic mushrooms or something. However, some people can't handle that type of stuff. So maybe, just maybe, Brian was tripping on freaking acid or shrooms or some type of psychedelic, and in the moment thought that this situation was different than what it was, and did absolutely something just absolutely insane. However, I don't think that's the case. Although I do think that they probably were on drugs, I believe that Brian murdered her. I don't believe this was an act of, oh my God, I have to put her down because there's nothing else I can do. The nearest hospital is like 30 minutes away, man. One phone call away from 911. 1 minute walk from the van. I knew immediately I couldn't make it to the van, so we had to stop right here and strangle her. What? Your van is 30 seconds away, dude. Just walk a little bit further. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist here, but maybe pull up the freaking van to Gabby if this is the case. I'm sure Gabby will be okay waiting here for the 27 seconds it takes for you to walk to the van and pull the van up to Gabby and load her in the van and take her to the hospital. This is such BS. It makes me infuriated at this point. You know what? I'm no holds bar with it. I'm sorry. I'm taking the kids' gloves off once again here. I'll go ahead and even take the ring off. Lock the parents up. You raised an idiot that thought that the general public would believe this after he killed Gabby. Lock the parents up. They deserve to be in jail for raising a complete lunatic, psychopath, idiotic piece of shit like Brian. Honestly. To even think that anyone should believe this. Whoever brought someone into this world that would write something this stupid on a piece of paper after killing someone deserves to be locked up. Lock them up. Lock them up. I don't care anymore. Oh, they didn't do anything wrong. Well, plot twist, guys. Turns out today, when the Petitos and the Laundries were down at the FBI's office picking up some evidence and information, turns out that there's a letter from Roberta Laundrie to Brian Laundrie that says burn after reading. And we'll talk about that in the next video. But first, I want to know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, drop a super thanks if you agree with anything I said here today. And as always, I'll talk to you all pretty soon.